and welcome. You're watching Undercurrent, where you can find out what's been happening in the Perth community. I'm Lucy Marchant. Last week, Perth hosted the Italian Food and Wine Festival, where food artisans, winemakers and chefs gathered to show the public the very best of Italian produce. Let's take a look. Hello and welcome to the 2016 Festival Italia. I'm here with Roberto, who's cooked a delicious risotto, and you're about to plate. Can you tell us a little bit about the risotto you've cooked for us tonight?
Yes. Now this is a cuttlefish black ink risotto. It's made making aside the sauce with the cuttlefish, and then we cook the rice with stock, meat stock, and when it's almost done, we dress with that sauce, which is black, but is the particular of this sauce using the inner black ink, and now it's dressed with butter, olive oil, Parmesan cheese.
Basically, as Italian Chamber of Commerce, our objective is to promote the trade between Italy and Australia, obviously promote Italian product here. This is an event that is done for the general public to enjoy Italian food, Italian traditional recipe and Italian wine, and to get to know new Italian wine variety. On the top floor here we have all the wine tasting, like a tasting hall. We divided in different Italian regions. We have the region from north of Italy, the one from the center of Italy, and the one in the south and island of Italy. So basically Southern Ireland, there is Sicily, Sardinia, there is Calabrian wine from Calabria. A lot of new wine variety that are imported by the importer and distributor here. And we have also a section where Italian varieties grown in Australia. So they're quite popular now here in Australia.
So I'm here with Noel, who's representing this Gentilino device. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Certainly, yeah. This is called the Gentilino. It decants wine by the glass. It's all handmade in Italy, and you simply just pour it like this. I'll show you how it works. So like this. So that's aerating the wine as it's going. It's filling the amphora, and it will stop there automatically at 125 ml. Just like that.
Clever.
Then you simply rotate and pour into the glass and aerates the wine for the second time. So the benefit of this product is you're drinking the wine at its best. You're drinking every glass at its best. You don't need to decant the whole bottle. Then when simply you finish, you leave the Gentilino in the bottle, and you put the cork back in and come back and finish the bottle off for the next night.
Beautiful. How did you come up with the design and the idea?
My wife and I were travelling through Italy last year, and we went to Enoteca in Assisi, and we ordered a couple of glasses of wine, and the young lady came out with this in the bottle, and we thought, what a great idea, so we bought a couple, and we found the manufacturer, and now we're the Australian distributor for the product.
Downstairs we had a few cooking demonstrations by several chefs, some local chefs and some Italian that we brought over. For example, Roberto Dal Seno, that is the head chef of 5 different restaurants in Porto Piccolo, Sistiana near Trieste, and he's a very talented chef, and he did demonstration of black ink risotto. While Roberto Federici of Perugino restaurant here in Perth did stuffed artichokes.
You're a chef?
Yes.
Can you tell us about your story?
I'm actually come from Italy, and my born region is Emilia-Romagna, which is in the middle part of Italy, middle north of Italy, and obviously, like many Italians, Italian chefs, I started to be passionate about food when I was a kid with my grandnan and grandpa, and then with my mom, and I started cooking, and from now on it was a sort of a passion that in my heart. So I kept following all these ingredients and the flavors that my nonna was cooking for me.
I've been concentrating to organizing this and being successful this year, but definitely going to see something in 2017, and we'll be releasing that soon.
Commonly known addictions include alcohol, smoking and drugs. You wouldn't necessarily think to put sugar along those addictions, but we find out otherwise. Bas Tadros with the report.
Today I'll be speaking with Natalie Woodman, a naturopath here in Perth, to find out what her views are about sugar addiction. Is it real? Is it really impacting people's health? and what foods have and contain sugar, and what types of sugars may or may not be good for us in our daily consumption. What are your thoughts about sugar and its effects on people's health?
Well, sugar is, again, it's about the dose is the poison, okay? So we're demonising sugar in its entirety, but what we're talking about here is processed sugars, and sugars, high fructose corn syrup, fructose sugars in our ice creams, in our yogurt, in processed foods. But the natural sugars, the naturally occurring sugars in fruits and vegetables and whole grains, so we're talking about monosaccharides and polysaccharides, which is, I know that's sort of hard to understand, but those natural sugars are processed differently with the body because they are bound with fibre and they're slowly released in our body. But the sugars that we find in, for example, tomato sauce, a couple of squeezes of tomato sauce and you've got 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar, and it's almost like injecting it straight into your bloodstream.
So in your opinion, is sugar addiction a real thing? Is it actually like a chemical addiction, perhaps, likened to alcohol and smoking?
Oh, most definitely. It is an addiction because the body can't process it quickly enough. When we ingest sugar and it goes straight into our bloodstream, we need insulin to basically get it into the cells to create energy. But when there's too much sugar, if you just think of supply and demand, you've got, say for example 100 grams of sugar, but your body's only requiring about 20 grams to do your job. That other sugar circulating in your blood, it changes the chemical receptors, how we function. Also with our gut, it causes inflammation in the body, it's stored as fat, and this cycle comes, and then once it's all away, our body's like, oh, I want more sugar.
What are some of the solutions or recommendations you give to people that come to you with sugar addictions?
So depending on how addicted are they, we try to work on reducing, like I said, we either go cold turkey or we work on reducing things. So we look at what have they got in their home, and I think if anyone opens their fridge and has a look and this is what I ask people to do first, is go to your fridge and have a look and get out all those packaged things, the dressings, the mayonnaises, anything that comes in a jar or packet, get it out and have a look at where sugar is on there. So, my hint to people is to shop on the perimeter. The best idea is to go to a market. Going to a market, there's fresh fruits and vegetables, and beans and legumes and nuts and seeds and things that you can buy. But alternatively, if you're not near a market or don't know of one, shop around the perimeter where all the fruit and vegetables are, and don't walk down the aisles.
If you sense that you have a sugar addiction, what would be one of the ways that people can detect that?
I think it's a change in moods. That's generally, so we see it now with our children, they say, oh, they're really hyperactive at this time. It's our moods change. You see people have, everyone talks about the 3 p.m. slump. Why? Because quite often we've had a highly processed lunch, or even, like I said, the sandwich that's got the mayonnaises and the mustards and the sauces in there, or the beetroot that's very high in sugar. And so once that we get that huge blood glucose spike, and then when it comes down, that slump. So that if you are up and downing, if your moods are changing, if you've got those energy slump, there's sugar associated with that, and we can see that in our children, we can see that in ourselves, and so we need to go back and look at the foods. But I think where most people struggle is they feel that it has no taste, because we are so used to the sugars mixed with salts and fats, that we go, oh, there's the taste. So it's about retraining our detectors, our basically taste detectors on our tongue, because they are basically have learnt just to be working for sugar, but those sour and those bitter and all those other taste receptors are literally laying dormant, and we need to reawaken that, and that is whole plant-based foods.
Bas Tadros for Undercurrent.
Every year, articles are published about political parties accepting donations from corporations, and every year we are outraged. However, nothing seems to change. Let's find out what the people of Perth think about this.
2 weeks ago, the federal Labor MP Sam Dastyari opened a Pandora's box, releasing a flurry of questions about the influx of Chinese wealth into Australia, the alleged currying of political favour and the way donations to politicians work. Questions are asked about whether the whole donation system needs more scrutiny and possible reform.
Local polls are showing some concern for the way big businesses are contributing to political parties. Should it be transparent? And should it be fully disclosed to the public? We'll hit the streets of Perth today and find out.
Well, the funding's got to come from somewhere. I know your regular Joe Blow isn't going to be donating a lot of money to the party, that's for sure. And I think that democracy really fails when one party has more of an influence than the other. Then we're all not represented.
And I think there's always an underlying reason why big businesses contribute to politicians or political campaigns. Pretty much nothing's for free. They want to get something or get some legislation passed or some special treatment.
Well, the only reason a business would want to donate to a political party is to have some influence, right? And I don't think that's right.
I actually find it really strange that some businesses will actually contribute to both sides of politics. I don't really understand the reasoning for that. But certainly anything that they do everyone should be aware of that, should be right out in the marketplace for people to see.
There's got to be some funding somewhere, and a lot of the Australian businesses, especially the ones that in exports, they produce a lot of our income, so those businesses would have a great impact, and it needs to be exposed, it needs to be out there.
What I did was within the rules, but it was wrong.
What do you think about overseas contribution to political parties?
I don't really see a problem with them contributing, but again, it needs to be totally out on the table, and it gives people the opportunity to actually ask us why, and what they expect for their contribution.
No businesses, or especially other countries, should be financing our political parties because there seems to be a conflict.
Should there be more disclosure?
Well, I think so, yeah. Or more kind of transparency for the public anyway.
Disclosure has to be disclosed a bit more, and the overseas contribution, there's no reason for it.
No, we need to have the options of knowing who is donating, because we support Australian businesses as well. So that information should be very transparent.
We really need our governments to be open, and who's really putting the pressure on them. But because then really it's not fair to the rest of us. What does our vote mean in the end? It means nothing.
I think a lot of people out there, especially a lot of the younger generation, do need to have more of an understanding on how the government is influenced by those sort of factors. A lot of the time it just gets blown over their heads. They have no idea exactly what's going on and the influence behind it.
It makes you wonder, realistically, people like myself and Rob over here, what difference does it make with our votes if it's all going to be influenced by big businesses and politicians and all those companies?
Bas Tadros for Undercurrent.
Stay with us, we'll be back with more Undercurrent after a short break. Welcome back to Undercurrent. Perth's weather has been a little bit unusual recently. James Burnside met with a weather specialist to find out why.
As we leave winter behind and enter spring, one would think the weather would start to get warmer. But around Perth, the cooler weather seems to be sticking around rather stubbornly. To investigate and figure out why this is, I've contacted Neil Bennett.
This winter has been the coolest in over 20 years for Perth, so in that aspect it is quite unusual. But it's not breaking any major records, although a 20-year cool period is something that we haven't seen for a long time, obviously. But the actual weather that's produced it isn't all that unusual. We've had a series of cold fronts moving up from the southwest. That's fairly typical for winter. We've had good rainfall out of those fronts, but what we've seen this season, which we haven't for a long time now, is a period of very short dry spells. We haven't had a prolonged dry spell through this winter. And that's something that we've been noticing has become more frequent over the last few years, where we get periods of rain and then we get 5 to 10, even 15 days without rain, and then we get these dry winters that we've been experiencing. We haven't seen that this winter, and what we have seen is a lot of cold air coming up in behind those cold fronts as well, to give us the chilly starts and to give us the cool temperatures during the day.
What is the cause of the weather patterns around Perth lately?
One of the things that we've noticed about the winter so far is the fact that the sea surface temperatures off the Indian Ocean, particularly out over the northern Indian Ocean, have been much warmer than normal. And this is something that's been happening for some time now. We've also seen the breakdown of an El Nino condition out over the Pacific Ocean as well. So we think the combination of those two factors has been the reason why the winter has been as wet as it has been for some parts, and also as cool as it has been as well. We've seen a lot of cloud coming across. We haven't seen the prolonged dry spells with lots of sunny days. So that's the reason for it. The actual reasons why the temperatures have been increasing over the oceans is fairly well understood. It is a symptom, a sign, if you like, of a warming atmosphere, and that's something that we have been noticing for a long time now. So temperatures are in the increase across the globe, and it's been manifested in these warmer sea surface temperatures both through the Indian Ocean and also in the Pacific Ocean as well.
Do you think the lowering temperature is ultimately a good thing or a bad thing?
Typically the Perth winters are meant to be wet. We've actually experienced rainfall that's just a little bit below average in Perth for this winter, which may come as a surprise. So it may also come as a surprise as well that Perth will get a wetter winter than Melbourne and a wetter winter than London. So we do need these long rainy days to charge our dams up, to charge the aquifers, to give the rainfall to the crops out in the wheat belt as well. So it is essential that we get these wet winters, otherwise conditions do become very difficult for farmers and also for people in the metropolitan areas as well. And indeed the Water Corporation has made steps towards future-proofing Perth by putting out things like the desalination plant and moving to recycled water as well, because there has been a trend over the last 30 to 40 years of the rainfall decreasing through the Perth area in the winter months. This has been something that's taking us back to our average, but it's still a little bit below average. But nevertheless, people expecting to see a continuation of this wouldn't be at all surprised to see that the dry conditions may return again, because that's what our climate predictions are sort of suggesting over the next 10 or 15 years. The Bureau does produce a 3-month forecast on top of its 7-day forecast that we do on a daily basis. So the 3-month forecast comes out once a month. And the latest one that we've got, which takes us through November and into December, and including the month of October, suggests nothing really out of the ordinary. We are expecting to see the rainfall continue in a normal trend, and we're also expecting temperatures to be close to average as well. So there's nothing in our models to suggest anything out of the ordinary over the next 3 months.
I'm James Burnside and you're watching Undercurrent.
A new art exhibition in Fremantle showcases the lives of children through their own eyes, captured by camera lenses. Michael So went to have a look.
The As I See It exhibition here at the Fremantle Maritime Museum gives visitors an insight into the worlds of young people living in out-of-home care. The young participants were each given a camera to take photos of 4 items that hold significance to them.
The significance of this exhibition is quite enormous. Both the individual young people that participate, it's great for their self-esteem, their self-expression, and also equally powerful, it gives a window and insight into their worlds in out-of-home care, not just for the department and their family and carers around them, but for the rest of the West Australian public. I think it's a really unique and special opportunity to understand and hear directly from the children and young people to give them some insight into what's important to them. Children and young people in out-of-home care, not always well understood in the community, so this is a really unique opportunity to hear directly from them and really understand what's important to the young people. Children and young people in care are a creative group of people. They have their good days and their bad days. They have lots of things in their past that are very difficult to overcome. Participating in a creative medium like photography, not only do they get to learn new skills, but they get to express themselves, build their confidence, and really share their story with the outside world. It was a great opportunity. The young people themselves really got into it. They learnt skills, they made new friends, and having a camera, I think, was a really terrific medium for them to talk about and express some very personal and often painful experiences in their life, but also to really put on public display about what's important. Young people care about their pets, their families, their friends, plants, places, and it's really important for everyone in the community, for their carers and for the department to understand what really counts in their lives. Children in out-of-home care, which is how we describe children that have come into the care of the department through the Children's Court, without exception, have experienced a level of trauma through abuse, sexual, physical, emotional abuse and neglect. They have a lot of adversity and challenges to overcome in their life. But when they are in out-of-home care, they're like children, everyday children and young people in our community with hopes and dreams, and they need a lot of support to not only heal from their experiences, but to go on and thrive in life. We feel very strongly at the department that children that come into out-of-home care, we want them to do more than survive their childhood. We want them to thrive in life and go on to be the very best person they can be in life. In Western Australia, there are three main reasons that children come into our attention as a department. It's when they're experiencing or witnessing family and domestic violence, their parents or adults looking after them are really struggling with quite severe drug and alcohol problems that impact on their ability to parent and safely look after children. And of course the mental well-being and mental health of parents plays a very big role in the children's experience of their family lives. So these are the things and the reasons why children come into care, and they're at quite an extreme level.
Why is it important that these young participants open up about their worlds through this photographic exhibition?
We have so much to learn from children and young people. It's incumbent on all of us across Western Australia to get involved, to promote their safety and well-being, to really value the role of children in our society. It's really important that we hear directly from them. This photo exhibition has been a wonderful experience, not only for the young people to express themselves, but also for the department carers, and thanks to the great support of the Maritime Museum, the general public here in Perth and Western Australia, to really learn from their insights as they see it.
Michael So reporting for Undercurrent.
A gospel choir formed by students of the Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts amazed spectators at Wesley Church on Monday. I went along to watch and met with Matt Allen, the director of the choir.
Tonight, I'm the director of the WAAPA Gospel Choir, so tonight we're putting on a concert of our own, and we've been working at about an hour's worth of work tonight for the last semester at the WA Academy of Performing Arts with the contemporary music singers involved. So yeah, tonight is a culmination of our work over the last semester, and we're really looking forward to it, so it's going to be good. Gospel singing has always been a passion of my own, and I know that there are a lot of gospel-inspired singers that are in the course currently, so it made a lot of sense to bring them all together each week and rehearse that style of music, and it's turned into something really unique and special that they all love being a part of. We've done quite a few performances. We've done the major shows at WAAPA, and we've recorded with hip-hop artist Draft over the last year. We did the Disconnect Festival last year, and yeah, and just kind of things like this. And we're doing the RTR FM show on October 28th as well. So yeah, we're slowly gaining some momentum. No idea that there would even be a scene in Perth at all, but tonight we've sold 200 pre-sale tickets to the show, so that was, well, I guess it wasn't surprising, but it did, I kind of got like, wow, this is great, you know, there's a big support network out for this style of music, and I think it's unique, like not a lot of this is really happening in Perth, so people are excited about this sort of singing.
together in harmony, and it's just really, really fun. Yeah, and we're really excited to be here singing in front of people. It's amazing. Yeah.
We love it. It's so much fun. We just have a good time. Hopefully by the end there, once we'd all loosened up, you saw that we actually have a lot of fun together.
Thank you for watching Undercurrent. Don't forget to catch up with us online at wtbperth.com.au. Take care, and we'll see you next week.